You're alive right now because of a statistical error, a 1 in a billion mistake that somehow happened 900,000 years ago. Look at your hand. Look at the people around you. Today, we are a family of 8 billion people conquering the planet. But back then, the entire human race fit inside a high school gym. 1,280 breeding survivors. That was it. No backup. If a single tiger attack went wrong, you wouldn't be watching this video. If one virus spread through the camp, humanity ended right there. This isn't a theory, it's written in your blood. In the 1970s, scientists noticed something weird about us. They compared our DNA to chimpanzees and gorillas. Chimps live in one forest, but have massive genetic differences. Humans live everywhere, but are basically clones of each other. We are suspiciously uniform, too perfect, too similar. It meant that at some point we were crushed, squeezed through a tiny genetic doorway that stripped us bare. For 50 years, textbooks told us it was the Toba volcano. The story was perfect, a super eruption 74,000 years ago. It blocked the sun, it froze the planet, it killed the food. It was the ultimate Hollywood disaster movie script. And for decades, nobody dared to question it. But the math never quite added up. The dates were off. Archaeologists started finding tools where they shouldn't be. People were living happily right through the apocalypse. The volcano didn't almost wipe us out. It was a distraction. The real killer was hiding much deeper in the timeline. Not 70,000 years ago, but 900,000 years ago, before we were even fully human. This wasn't a bad winter. This was a complete collapse. 98.7% of our ancestors vanished without a trace. Imagine your entire city. Now imagine only 2 people left. That is the scale of the ghost in your DNA. And until 2023, we didn't have the tools to see it. We needed a supercomputer and a new way to read the past. What they found rewrote the history of our species. It wasn't just a bottleneck, it was a 117,000-year siege. Generations born into a world that wanted them dead. No technology, no fire at first, just raw luck. So what exactly happened 900,000 years ago? And how did 1,200 people beat a planet trying to kill them? Imagine waking up and the world has turned against you. 900,000 years ago, the climate didn't just change, it broke. The Earth's rhythm slowed down, glacial cycles got longer, the ice sheets became thicker, the air became drier. Africa, the cradle of humanity, turned into a dust bowl. The lush grasslands disappeared, the animals vanished. Our ancestors looked around and the food was gone. This wasn't a famine of years, it was a famine of millennia. We call it the Mid-Pleistocene Transition, but for them, it was the end of the world. The ocean levels dropped, the rainfall stopped, and humanity began to die. Not all at once, but slowly. Group by group, tribe by tribe, the lights went out. 100,000 people became 50,000, then 10,000, until finally we hit the bottom. 1,280 souls. Think about that number. It's smaller than a cruise ship. If a flu virus had mutated, we would be gone. If a volcano had erupted then, game over. We were an endangered species, rarer than pandas today. For 117,000 years, we teetered on this razor's edge. Imagine living your whole life knowing everyone you know is everyone who exists in the entire universe. There was no one over the hill, no one across the sea, just silence and the cold. But this bottleneck didn't just shrink us, it changed us. Hardship is a brutal teacher. It kills the weak, but it forces the survivors to become something else. Something smarter, something more dangerous. We lost diversity, yes, we became clones, but we gained something far more important. Because when you have nothing, you have to invent everything. And the archaeological record shows a strange gap here. The gap, a time when fossils just stop appearing. It's as if the Earth held its breath for 200,000 years, waiting to see if the human experiment would fail. But in a cave in South Africa, a spark was lit. Not just a fire to keep warm, but a weapon against the dark. This is where the story turns, from victim to survivor, from prey to predator. But the cost was enormous. We carry the scars of that winter in every cell of our bodies. And recently, scientists found the smucking gun, a single skull that proves everything I just told you. Bones tell stories that DNA can only whisper. But for decades, paleontologists had a dirty little secret, a massive gap in the fossil record they couldn't explain. Look at the timeline between 900,000 and 600,000 years ago. It's a ghost town. The Earth stopped preserving us. Skeptics said, "We just haven't dug in the right places." It's a coincidence, they said. Keep looking. But Fitcole proved it wasn't a coincidence. It was a crime scene. There were no bones because there were no people, except for one lucky find that changed everything. Enter the Thomas Quarry site in Morocco. In the red dust, they found a partial skull, dated to exactly 773,000 years ago, bang in the middle of the Dark Age. Meet the survivor, the face of the Bottleneck. He doesn't look like the humans who came before him. His brow is thicker, his brain case is tougher. He looks like someone who went through hell and lived. Scientists call this lineage Homo heidelbergensis. I call him the ultimate grandfather. Because this tiny group of survivors didn't just rebuild, they split up and conquered the world. One group went to Europe and became the Neanderthals. One group went to Asia and became the Denisovans. And the ones who stayed in Africa? They became us. The Bottleneck forced a rapid evolution, do or die. But genetics alone didn't save 1,280 people. You can't eat DNA. You can't keep warm with genes. They needed a weapon against the Ice Age. Evidence from Israel at Gesher Benot Yaakov gives a clue. Burnt flint, charred seeds, clusters of ash. This wasn't a wildfire. This was a hearth. Around 790,000 years ago, we mastered the flame. Fire changed the math of survival instantly. It meant cooked food, more calories for bigger brains. It meant warmth in a world that was freezing over. It meant we could talk and plan deep into the night. The Bottleneck tried to kill us with cold. We fought back with the only thing hotter than the sun. This combination, evolution and fire, broke the siege. But don't get comfortable yet, because science is never settled. In 2024, a new study came out to challenge it all. Are we really the children of 1,200 survivors, or is the computer model lying to us? Let's look at the counter-evidence. But hold on, don't write this in your history textbooks just yet, because in science, a bold claim is like blood in the water, and the sharks began circling almost immediately. In 2025, a new study dropped like a bomb on the theory. A team led by geneticists questioned the whole nightmare scenario. They said, Fitcole is a brilliant tool, but it's hallucinating. They reran the data using different mathematical models, and guess what? The massive Bottleneck disappeared. According to them, we didn't almost go extinct, we were just ignoring each other. It's called population structure, and it's a tricky illusion. Imagine humanity split into 10 different tribes. They stopped talking, they stopped trading, they stopped marrying. To a computer, that separation looks exactly like a die-off, so the algorithm saw a massacre where there was only silence. Other researchers proposed an even wilder theory, that we aren't descended from one tiny group of survivors, but from two ancient populations that merged much later. They say our DNA looks uniform because we mixed, not because we died. So was the 1,280 survivors story just a math error? Not so fast. Don't get comfortable yet, because even if the numbers are debated, the hell was real. You can argue with algorithms. You can't argue with geology. A 2024 study led by Domenko looked at the physical world, and the Earth remembers exactly what happened 900,000 years ago. Mass extinctions of large animals across Eurasia, gone. Massive migrations of species running for their lives. The climate did crash. The food did disappear. Whether we were 1,000 or 10,000, we were suffering. The fossil gap is still there. The silence is still loud. Something extraordinary reshaped the world back then. It wiped out the competition, it cleared the board, and it left us as the last apes standing. Maybe Fit Cole exaggerated the numbers, but it got the core truth right. We are the children of crisis. We are not here because we were safe. We are here because we are the best at not dying. The debate over the exact number will continue for years, but the lesson of the bottleneck is crystal clear. And it's a lesson we need right now more than ever, because the climate is changing again. And this time, there are 8 billion of us. Are we as tough as the 1,280 who made it, or have we forgotten how to survive? Look at the person closest to you right now. Really look. You might think you have nothing in common with them, different politics, different beliefs, different lives. But beneath the surface, you are family. Literally. We are all survivors of the same shipwreck. Every human on Earth is a descendant of that one tiny tribe. That high school gym filled with 1,200 shivering people. They didn't just pass down their genes, they passed down a warning. Existence is fragile. Progress is never guaranteed. We assume we are the masters of this planet. But 900,000 years ago, nature reminded us who is really in charge. It took only a few degrees of cooling to nearly erase us. Today, we face the opposite problem. The heat is rising. And the question isn't, will we survive? The question is, what are we willing to change to survive? Our ancestors invented fire to beat the ice. They invented language to beat the isolation. What will we invent to beat our bottleneck? The next chapter of human history hasn't been written yet, but we know how the last chapter almost ended. We are the 1%, not the rich 1%, the living 1%. 99% of all human species that ever lived are gone. We are the anomaly. We are the lucky ones. So the next time you feel small, remember the 1280. Remember that you carry the blood of the toughest people who ever lived. They didn't quit when the world froze. Don't you quit now. This channel is dedicated to the lost history of our species, to the mysteries that textbooks are too scared to print. If you want to know where we really came from and where we are actually going, hit that subscribe button. Join the survivors. I'm digging up a new mystery next week, something about a map that shouldn't exist. You don't want to miss it. Until then, keep scanning the past, because the truth is buried deeper than you think.